Hi, my name is Mahesh Balasubramanian. I'm the Director of Product Marketing for Instinct and ROCm product line at AMD. Today, I'm here with Meena Arunachalam, who's a fellow for AI software engineering at AMD. And today, we are excited to talk to you about our work jointly with MLCommons and MLPerf. Thank you for joining us today, Meena. Really excited to have you. So let's start with MLCommons and MLPerf. What is the importance of MLCommons as an organization and MLPerf as a benchmark for the larger AI industry?
Thank you, first of all, for having me here, Mahesh. And it's a really fun topic and an exciting time for AMD in particular, because we are just coming off of our first MLPerf 4.1 publication, inference publication that we just made end of August this year for inferencing. And we are just getting started. We got a pretty good performance number that we accomplished, and we look forward to publishing even more models. What is MLPerf and why is it important for us? I think all of us know that something gets better only if you measure it, right? So you have to have some way or manner of benchmarking, measuring, comparing, your capabilities, right? So MLPerf through the MLCommons supports this for several years now on a variety of models, including generative AI, large language models, relevant workloads, both in a variety of domains and with very relevant data sets, both for training as well as for inferencing, and provides a nice harness and set of rules and specifications to compare, both in the closed domain as well as open, apples to apples, or, compare and contrast and show off the capabilities of the different hardware, not just hardware, but also the software that goes with that. So it's kind of a nice showcase, if you will, for showing your wares to the end customer to compare in an even sort of playing field, if you will.
Yep, that makes sense. Having an industry standard benchmark to have even comparison is a really unique and a robust manner to ensure that there is even playing field and to highlight the different benefits of different hardware that's available. So very much makes sense. So let me ask you this question. AMD has been a part of MLCommons, I assume, for a while. Can you talk to us a little bit more about AMD's engagement with MLCommons and MLPerf?
Sure. AMD is one of the founding members, and one of the AMD engineers is the chair for the MLPerf inference working group. And he's part of my organization, and we continue to contribute both in terms of defining and the benchmarks and going through the rules and how we measure, what we should measure, what is relevant, and continuing to keep the MLPerf set of workloads current and relevant, but also we contribute as a company to the benchmark development as well as in the future we'll continue to do that in up and coming areas like end-to-end pipelines or other new workloads. We will continue to participate, and we can definitely bring a lot of value both from our CPU as well as the GPU worlds of software that we have. And as you know, ROCm has been here for several years, and we have established really good performance leadership in the HPC world. For example, the top 500 computers, we have leadership positions there. So we'll continue to do the same and extend the capabilities of our ROCm stack into AI, deep learning, machine learning, and bring it into this AI revolution as we speak.
That's really interesting to hear. So let me ask you this question. So yes, ROCm has been in development and in use in production in a broad set of use cases, especially showcasing its capabilities on HPC. Can you talk to us some of the efforts that you and your team put in for the first MLPerf submission from AMD that you mentioned earlier?
Absolutely. It was a very exciting time for us to sort of realize the capability of our hardware. So ROCm was really doing extremely well in the HPC world, and for deep learning it was also coming up. Now, in order for us to take it and get to a benchmark publication level, we had to do several things, all the way from the lowest level BLAST library, gem tuning, to the VLLM contributions and making sure there are not too many overheads in the framework, there are not bubbles and things like that in the CPU, GPU handshake, even things like quantizing the model and testing our own tools like Quark and putting it to the test and creating FP8 quantized models. Everything was already there in our hands, and we sort of took it to the next level and implemented things we needed implementing, putting things into production, and actually taking it on the MLPerf definition of the server mode or the offline mode. There are certain requirements about latency threshold or throughput, realizing these throughput and things like that. Under these kind of conditions, deploying this software and getting it to as close to the roofline as possible was an awesome engineering challenge. And it was a team of engineers across the different software components. And as a result, people were super excited at our first inaugural publication. Getting to the position and the leadership that we did was very encouraging, and we are excited. We'll continue to do more of these models going forward. That is our plan.
Got it. So let me ask you this. The current the current trend in Gen AI is moving towards transformer models and moving to larger, bigger models with more capabilities. Can you talk to us a little bit more about what is MLCommons' path and future? What have they done to meet the current requirement of the new age of generative AI, as well as what does AMD plan to do going forward in conjunction with MLCommons and MLPerf?
In fact, it is one of the key observations, right? Like as you rightfully said, generative AI, large language models is transforming this AI industry in a big way. And definitely MLCommons and MLPerf have included and continue to include. For instance, Llama models are already part of MLPerf, and our publication on MI300X was with Llama 2.1 70 billion model. But there are things like stable diffusions, SDXL. There are new models like GPT-3, and even larger models potentially are going to get added in the future. So the trend is to add newer generative AI, large language models, and then do away with some of the older models. So as they add new models, and development cycles also take some time, right, in order to develop a fair and accurate way of developing a benchmark. It does take a good amount of engineering and development resources, and then they sort of decommission the older or the smaller models, or that have become sort of already reached its heyday, right? So the newer models challenge the hardware, challenge the software, challenge the ecosystem, and prime them to sort of go beyond where they are today, innovate more, get out of box thinking type of.
That's fantastic news. So last questions from me is, let's talk about ROCm and the open software nature. Can you talk about how ROCm's fundamental philosophy of being an open source software stack relates to how MLCommons and MLPerf looks at it as an industry standard benchmark?
Absolutely. So ROCm, as you know, is one of the, the entire AI stack is very open source oriented, meaning a lot of the components are available and open source and welcomes participation from the community, from the ecosystem. As a result, making it richer and ready for, primed for developer engagement, developer contributions, as well as more open and faster on the innovation, pipeline, if you will, right? But on the flip side, like for example, VLLM, right? We have a whole lot of, the ecosystem and developers behind it. And I just recently read an article that there's a tremendous, set of improvements that have made it in. And so we are going to adopt it. So the ROCm AI stack will adopt whatever the open source is bringing to us. That's one. And then on our front, we will continue to push the envelope, whether it is quantization or whether it is the gems or whether it is, flash attention, whatever the newer, greatest and latest innovations that are coming up, we will, also invest our resources, bring up the software, to bear the fruit in our, future hardware generations. So we'll continue. It's kind of a symbiotic, relationship, you will, and push each other to so innovate. Hardware pushes software and software pushes the hardware. And as a result, the end customer can realize the power as well as, create even either larger models or more capable models. As you can see, people are hungry for this, capability and performance. And we hope to continue to encourage and offer that to the developers.
Meena, thank you so much for this time. I enjoyed this conversation, and I hope our developers got to hear from you, our core engineering resource, to understand more about our work with ROCm, our engagement with the developer community, as well as with industry standards like MLCommons and MLPerf. So thank you so much for your time. Do you have anything else you wanted to add?
No, thank you so much for having me. And I think we have a lot of very interesting and innovative times ahead of us. And as in my position and my role, I have lots of fun and exciting problems to solve and new records to set, hopefully, which will all happen soon.
Thank you, Meena.
Thank you.